If it's purified, they've added baking powder to it. Really? I drink Callaway.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday, August 12th, 2026, regular board meeting of the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Education. It's great to see people in the audience today, and those that are watching online, welcome. We will begin our day with our, if you will please stand, for our national anthem and Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kim Achenbach. I am the Performing Arts Specialist for the school district. I support all music, theater, and dance teachers. And today we have a group of veteran music, dance, and theater teachers. We call them triple threats when they can do all three well. We have many teachers today who are maybe seeing their kids only for the first or second time because of rotations and schedules. So that's why our group is a little bit small but mighty. So we are thankful for the opportunity to be here, and we ask after the singing of the anthem if you would please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you.
Let's hear it again for our music teachers. All right, I'll ask for assurance that this meeting has been posted. I've been assured. Thank you very much. I'll now ask for approval. I'm wishing to approve the agenda.
I thought we were going to amend the agenda, but it's already been amended. My bad. I move to approve the agenda as posted.
Thank you very much. All right. All in favor? Thank you very much. All right. Announcements. Let me get to them. Here you go. Why is mine? All right. I have a few. First of all, we have our Academic Excellence Committee meeting on Tuesday, August 18th, here at Whitney at 3:30. Then we have our Capital Improvement Committee meeting Wednesday, August 19th at 3:30 here at Whitney. We have our Audit Committee meeting Thursday, August 27th at Whitney, here at 8 a.m. Our Board Accountability Committee meeting is Tuesday, September 1st at 3:30 here at Whitney. And students will love this. Our Labor Day holiday is September 7th, holiday for all students, school and district staff. Whee! All right. Sorry. I don't got that on tape. So the 2026-27 United Way kickoff luncheon is September 10th at the Convention Center at 11:30. Our fall board retreat is September 24th and 25th at a location to be determined. Our October board meeting is Wednesday, October 7th here at Whitney. Informal starts at 10 a.m. Executive starts at 12:30, and regular meeting starts at 2 p.m. I am going to use my privilege to make a change in the order of the agenda. We are going to move up our exchanging of the plates to now.
Good afternoon, board members and visitors. Today is a bittersweet moment, but it is also a moment to pass the torch and continue a great tradition. Over the past year, I've had the honor of serving as the district's Instructional Support Person of the Year. I am just this quiet kid from Savannah, Georgia, and a proud graduate of Alfred Eli Beach High School today. And I am grateful for the opportunity to serve this community, learn from others, and build relationships with so many amazing people. Most importantly, I've had the opportunity to be a voice and advocate for so many district staff. I want to sincerely thank my entire family, my friends, for their continued love and support throughout this journey. Your encouragement has meant more to me than words can express. As the school resource officer to hold this position, as the first school resource officer to hold this position, but certainly not the last, I hope I have set a positive example of what is possible when we step outside of the traditional roles people may expect of us. I hope the next person who receives this honor understands that too, and can make an impact far beyond their job title. To the staff at Windsor Forest High School, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to serve each and every one of you. It has been an honor, and I've always been grateful for the relationships and memories I have made. I'm also very confident that my former English teacher, Ms. Laura Evans, will serve the district with absolute honesty, integrity, and dedication. I know she will carry this torch proudly and continue the tradition. Lastly, I want to speak directly to the community. Despite what you may have read or heard about us, we are still approachable, dependable, trustworthy, empathetic, but also law enforcing officers. We take our responsibility to protect you and your children serious. But beyond this badge, we are people who care deeply about our schools, our students, our staff, and of course, our community. I want to also give a special shout out to Ms. Jennifer Hughes, who was not able to make it today, for her support and dedication throughout this process. Thank you all for your time, your support, and the opportunity to serve. This may be the end of my term, but it's certainly not the end of my service. I would like to pass the torch over to this year's Teacher of the Year, Sam Sachs, and Instructional Support Person of the Year, my former teacher, Ms. Laura Evans.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Jabari. It is such a special and full circle moment yet again to receive that from you. And I always knew that you just had this passion for life that would just serve the community and world so well. And it's just exciting to share that with you and this board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve with you. I hope that my 17 years with you guys, that it will allow me plenty of opportunities to share experiences, insight, and just general celebrations and all that goes along with it as I serve alongside so many people that are special to me. And I just thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to deepening my connections within this district and advocating on behalf of teachers, students, and all staff members. They both said so many nice things, so I'm going to turn it back to you, President.
All right, so Teacher of the Year, you're here. And support person, you're here. All right, and now we will have our superintendent's report.
Good afternoon. We are on day 8 of school for the 26-27 school year. 172 amazing days left, but the first week and a half of school is behind us, and it has been a tremendous success. There were the usual first week of school issues, but we had a great return to school thanks to the hard work of the entire team. I'd like to thank this community, our families, students, and all staff for the start of another amazing school year. I am extremely energized and excited about the work that lies ahead and the positive outcomes for our students as they benefit from the unlimited possibilities of our school district and what we have to offer. I'm also excited to announce that the newly remodeled Jacob G. Smith Elementary School officially opened with a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony on July 31st. A crowd of a little over 100 gathered to celebrate this renovation of the school, including neighbors, district leaders, board members, current and former staff members, and the grandson and family of the school's namesake, Jacob Grass Smith. And what an honor it was to have Jacob G. Smith's namesake present in the form of the grandson present with us. After the ribbon cutting, guests did have an opportunity to tour the school to admire the colorful and engaging surrounding. Hats off to the Capital Projects team for this on-time completion of such a beautiful school. And also thank you to the community, as this was an eSPLOST project, for your investment in our facilities. Kudos to Joyce Stevens of Woodville-Tompkins Technical and Career High School for being recognized as the State Teacher of the Year for Business and Computer Science by the Georgia Association for Career and Technical Education. Ms. Stevens' selection is one more reminder of the dedication and skills of our educators and of the commitment from our talent management team to recruit and retain the very best. And I believe she's here with us. No? No, because she's working today. Showing us her very best. But I do extend my congratulations to Miss Joyce Stevens. I'd also like to extend a special thanks to the Metro Savannah Rotary Club for their support of Peyton Owens as she prepares for the adventure of a lifetime through the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. A standout student at Woodville-Tompkins High School, Peyton, who is here with us today, earned the highest GPA in her sophomore class and is an active member of both the National Honor Society and the school's debate team. She has completed 2 years of Korean language study, giving her a strong foundation as she prepares to study abroad in South Korea, where she will spend the next year immersed in a new culture, new language, and educational experiences. This entire process has shaped me as a person, Peyton says. Rotary Youth Exchange has given me this chance to step outside of my comfort zone and do things I once only considered, or I considered at one time impossible. I'll ask Peyton now to join us at the Horseshoe. Her and her support team, Aaron Miller, Roe Patrick of the Metro Savannah Rotary Club, and we would love to extend congratulations and shake your hands.
Thank you. We're so proud, Paige.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
And here's her mom.
Great.
It's hand sanitizer.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, congratulations to our very own board member, Denise Grabowski, for her election to the Georgia School Board Association Board of Directors. She will represent GSBA Region 1 on the statewide board. This is such a great honor for Ms. Grabowski and for the Savannah-Chatham County Public School Board of Education, and we are very proud of her commitment to public education, not just in our district, but statewide. Thank you, Ms. Grabowski, for your service to our school district and now beyond.
Mr. Board President, board officers, members of the board, Madam Superintendent, your next agenda item is a Community Partner Spotlight. And I have the great honor of reading the description into record today before we bring up some guests to shake hands with the board. We'd like to recognize the Savannah College of Art and Design. For many years, the Savannah College of Art and Design has been a staunch supporter of the district in many, many ways. Recently, one of their signature events was held that continued to showcase their commitment to education in our great school district. The annual SCAD Buzz Bus art donation is one of the highlights of the year for our art teachers. More than 50 educators received classroom materials this year that were collected from SCAD students at the close of the academic year. SCAD Serve gathered a record-breaking number of donated supplies as students moved out for the summer last year, and they transformed those gently used materials into valuable classroom resources for our educators in our schools. This donation is a powerful example of what can happen when community partners invest in our schools. These supplies provide our talented art teachers tools to spark creativity, expand learning opportunities, and engage students in meaningful ways. We're so grateful for SCAD, and they continue to partner and bring that commitment to partnership in helping our students explore their talents, develop critical thinking skills, and achieve unlimited possibilities. We thank you, SCAD, and today we'd like to officially welcome you to the Horseshoe as a way of recognizing your commitment to our school district. We'd like to invite our SCAD representatives to the Horseshoe today. We welcome Vice President of SCAD Serve, Scott Lindsay, and Director of SCAD Serve, Priya Paget.
Let's hear it again for SCAD. All right. Now we will have our public comment. Each person has 3 minutes. We'll start with Davion Dorsey. Davion Dorsey? Bueller? Okay. Now we have Mrs. Angelisa Savage Bryant.
Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. Angelisa Savage Bryant, and I proudly reside in District 4. Today I wear blue because blue represents royalty. You are entrusted with our greatest royal gifts, our children. How you listen matters. How you respond matters. How you treat students, employees, parents, and citizens, it matters. I come to continue to hear. We don't get involved in school level matters. But when concerns remain unresolved, the outside comes in. When you are entrusted with our royal gifts, refusing to acknowledge what went wrong does not protect the system. Accountability does. Mandatory reporting does. Student safety is not optional. And when citizens stand here to speak, what matters is sent when they see heads down, side conversations, and disengagement. On July the 10th, the outside started asking questions by email. And notice this, no communication restriction was placed on the governor, state agencies, and federal agency. The restriction was placed on a parent, me. When the governor, state, and federal agency come knocking at your door, do you act in? Our children feels this. They live with pain long after each meeting ends. You took the oath, my board, to serve. Our democracy depends on accountability. Our children must feel and see that they come first. The outside is listening. Oh, they are listening. Why isn't we working as a team, the inside, to listen first? I want to tell all of y'all, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, because someone gave me the right to come here, and they were board members. I want to say thank you again, because the Almighty is going to keep listening, and amen. Have a great day.
Thank you. Tiffany Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. I have a proposal for Chatham County School District. What if we could positively improve the lives of our high school students without it costing a single penny for the schools or the district? That is actually a thing that we could be doing. But how? Well, scientific research shows that music has a positive impact on our students' lives. Specifically, students who are involved in band and music often read at higher levels, test on higher scores, have a better attendance, and maintain a higher GPA. So why would we not do this, right? Well, locally, we have been doing this for years, but it's not been written down. For years, we have been allowing children from choice schools to participate in marching bands at their district school. Their choice school does not offer a marching band, so they go to their district school. This year, we were told that that is not allowed. I was told that that is against regulations. It is not against regulations. Both the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Music Educator Association have no authority over who can participate in marching band. You do. You here have the power to say children who don't have marching bands at their choice schools should be allowed on their own time, at their own expense, at their own parents' responsibility to participate in said marching band. We should not be removing children who have been participating in said marching bands for years just because it's not black and white in the book. It is a very much gray area, and we should allow our children who are choosing to invest themselves in something positive to continue to do that. We have kids shooting up malls in Savannah. Marching band should not be the thing that kicks them out. They should not be crying because their band members got removed because of a gray area. This is actually happening in our schools today. There is a full band punished because of this gray area. We should not be allowing this unregulated marching band issue punishing kids who are doing what is considered right, what is considered productive. Not only is it an issue of choice schools, but you're also punishing the local schools because when you create a vacuum like Savannah Arts does, you remove the best top two of every single instrument out of the school pool. And these marching bands are out without the French horn, without whatever fancy instrument that is not regularly available because it's expensive. The youth deserves the opportunity to be involved and the youth deserves the opportunity to be allowed to continue investing themselves in their community through marching band. Please consider supporting these heartbroken students.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Hedeker?
Thank you, Mr. Board President. Continuing on your agenda into the Board of Education matters, we have a few policies under review for the board today. This is item 7.01. This is BCBL, and this is under the 4-year review process, comes to the board as a first reader. There are a few recommended changes here. Primarily, the policy has been updated to emphasize the board's commitment to continuous self-assessment and improvement, but also to provide flexibility for the board in the timing of that action and the format of annual assessments and retreats. This has been configured in your policy, been provided in advance. You'll see the red text as the revision recommendation, and this will come back for a second reader adoption subject to the board's review and comments.
Any comments? All right, continue.
Continuing on your agenda, item 7.02. This is also a 4-year review, board policy BDF. This is a review of administrative rules for the board. Proposed updates primarily are to remove outdated terminology and provide language to clarify the superintendent's authority in issuing operational directives that support administrative rules and/or policies. This includes instructions, processes, procedures, and protocols. That has been provided subject to the information that you've seen in advance on your board agenda, posted publicly to board docs. This will come back for a second read adoption September 2nd.
Ms. Grabowski.
Just one minor suggestion. The line that's been added at the end, this policy does not prevent the superintendent from administratively, so on and so forth. Certainly no problem with that provision, but I think it may be helpful just to add consistent with existing board policy, just for additional clarification.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Excellent. So noted. We will take a look at that to add to this policy review for your second reader adoption. Item 7.03, this is Board Policy DC Annual Operating Budget. And what you'll see happening here is a needed policy change that we experience primarily through action. We all know that the process for the adoption of the budget this year and the adoption of the millage rate was out of the normal sequence of the way that we manage our budget process. And that created a little bit of confusion based on how we were applying the policy. The key thing that we learned from this is the policy, as was written many years ago, was written in a way that connected the adoption of the budget and the millage rate together and didn't really decouple them. So what we did through our experience this year in the FY27 budget adoption is it went back through this policy area and realized that we needed to fix that. You'll see the primary language that's been added in the policy does just that, makes it very clear that the board can adopt a budget and it can either do it in tandem with a millage rate or not, subject to the availability of the tax digest. Those are the primary changes. This is a first reader, comes back to the board for second read September 2nd.
Any comments? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, item 7.04. This is GAMA, Drug-Free Workplace. A lot of revisions here. You'll see the primary energy, though, that we put into this was to provide some clarifications in violations that may result in discipline, including up to termination in the area of drug-free workplace. We revised the safety and security sensitive positions language, those that are subject to random drug testing. And part of what triggered this review to the level that what we are is we recognize there are also references to alternate bus drivers and transportation that we consider subject to drug testing as you would any other driver that had a CDL license. That was a primary driver of change that you'll see in this policy area. This is coming to you again for a first reader subject to your comments. We'll come back second reader adoption in September. Also wanted to call out that you will note that there are references in this section that align to the board's previous action under our public engagement areas in section K of the board policy manual, where we did provide opportunities for limited third-party exceptions in this area, primarily for wine, beverages, and alcohol beverages, beer, for those events where Massey and Oatland are renting out the facility to, say, weddings, et cetera. That has been an exception written into policy for many years for the board. We felt it sat better in this area with a cross-reference to board policy KG, so that has been updated in this policy review as well. First reader.
Ms. Grabowski.
I think when we made that other change, I brought this up too, but I hope that we're doing some education with our employees about some of the over-the-counter alternatives that are available and completely legal, but can still result in a positive drug screen, because would hate for someone to lose their job over something that because of lack of awareness.
Yeah, thank you for raising that. We did fix that, and I thought we had some quality language from that feedback we received from the board when we went through this review when it is applicable to students. This obviously is the staff side. We'll double check that for the same eyeball on this one to align with the way we approach that with students as well.
Well, and I guess I'm saying beyond just policy, but proactive awareness to our employees that that is something to be, for them to be aware of.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Moving along, item 7.05. This policy came to you. It was bundled in part in connection to the work we just did under drug-free workplace. You'll see this is the policy of drug screening of bus drivers. Note that is a title which is included in the board policy manual, which is a state-level document that we are a part of through GSBA. So we aren't able to change the titles. One of the things that was important for us is that we talk about the other individuals who may be subject to drug screening. This particular area, we really wanted to hone in on the bus drivers and transportation element as that title appropriately suggests, and ensure that it is in line with federal requirements. You'll also see and notice here that in alternate bus drivers as well would be subject to screening. We covered that under the previous policy section. But this one you'll see primarily has much alignment to federal law and things that are required for those that are driving or have CDL licenses as it comes to drug screening. That is the primary onus of this policy review, and we come to you as a first reader. Second read adoption September 2nd.
Any comments? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 7.06. This is board policy IBB charter schools. This comes as a mid-period review, in part because there were some changes that we knew were coming that were being brought forth through the State Board of Education. The board will recall, I think it was last year, we had an excellent charter workshop, and we partnered with charter schools and charter leaders for work that we were doing in this area. And we knew that we would need to come through with some policy updates for the board. The main driver on this was the State Board of Education took action, and they did updates back earlier in the beginning of the year. We've done a pretty extensive review on this one and found that there are several areas that we needed to realign language to get it in association with that State Board of Education rule, which a lot of it is being driven by the Office of Charter School Compliance. So you'll see those are the main things that are driving this, and references to those State Board of Education rules, especially the State Board of Education rule in section 160, which is point 6, speaks to the board having certain requirements of authority and accountability. So we mentioned that explicitly by referencing that State Board of Education rule. Our charter school liaison, Miss Liaison Shakira Smith, is here today, and she's able to provide a little bit more detail for the board on this one because it was a lot of red in this particular policy update, and she can give some additional background.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You can go ahead with the presentation.
Well, we're working off of the language that was provided that you see on screen right now. So we'll defer to you to guide us through the information that is important for the board to be aware of.
Okay, so good afternoon again. Why are we revising this policy? It's to modernize the language in the policy and the practices, also to align with state requirements and National Association of Charter School Authorizer standards, to clarify any authorizer expectations and accountability, and to preserve the charter autonomy while strengthening the oversight. So all of that pretty much aligns also in the direction we're moving with our strategic plan. The summary of the revisions that has been embedded in the presentation. However, I do want to highlight two particulars here. It clarifies the board's roles and expectations as a charter authorizer, and it also aligns charter schools with the district's strategic goals that I just mentioned, the strategic plan, and the overall student outcomes. So that's just a brief summary of it. All of that information, again, was in your folder. Want to just highlight two things in particular here. Autonomy in exchange for accountability. We want to continue to look at those things. Charter schools maintain autonomy over governance, instructional programming,
personnel decisions, budgeting, and operations. We, as the authorizer, in return for that accountability, will be academic performance, financial sustainability, organizational and operational effectiveness, compliance with state law, charter contracts, and board expectations. I'll pause here for any questions. Yes, sir.
Has the state issued final regulations and guidance, or are we still operating in some gray areas, and so we're just trying to?
No additional gray areas. All updates have been made, and this is a part of that update within our policy. So no additional updates since any of the last report outs.
And is the state, do they set a floor? Like, here's the minimum and local districts can do more? Or do they say, here are the rules that have to be applied uniformly around the state?
Here are the new rules. That is embedded within the framework. And the framework is what we referenced and spent time on last school year when we had the joint board session. So it's stuck at the framework for the state.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Welcome.
That concludes the first reader for IBB. Again, we'll come back September 2nd, board agenda for second reader adoption. Next item on your agenda is JCDB, student dress code. We want to remind that this is no policy change. We're bringing you a revision to the regulation. So this comes before the board for the board's review, and subject to any feedback by the board, we'll move this one forward with updates. Primary changes, as you've seen in advance, delivered through your board packets, is we're providing clarification to what the board has already done through a policy review in this area that allowed spirit wear tops to be provided as part of the daily uniform. And uniform is a key part of language here that clarifies that item as part of that dress code. So we realize there could be some ambiguity in the way the language was written previously, and we wanted to clarify that through this policy update in the administrative regulations. So you see very clearly it states that the uniform tops, spirit wear, are a part of the uniform and can be worn daily as part of the uniform. Of course, the guidelines for the schools to determine the artwork and the colors and what their spirit wear looks like is left up to the individual schools. So again, this is bringing to the board as a regulation, administrative regulation update.
Ms. Campbell?
I appreciate greatly the clarification on this because I know we've had some questions from parents at the beginning of the school year. I guess one question that I still have, and maybe it's more up for the board, because I don't know that it was answered in some of my pre-questions, but if an athletic or extracurricular program requires the purchase of, let's say, athletic wear or something like that, is it something that maybe we should write into the policy that they be told up front before purchasing this equipment or apparel that means that they can use it, at school? Or should we go ahead and tell them beforehand, this isn't something that's going to be dress code approved, but we do think that you should have it for this athletic program? That's something that's still lingering amongst parents, at least in my district, that I would love for us to take up.
Yes, Mr. Butler and I have had some conversations about that. I think he's going to provide some supplemental information for you. I do want to remind, too, though, that very specific language, such as something like that written into policy, gets into a ministerial duty, which creates challenges for the district-wide in the implementation of policy, because it really sets up an opportunity for someone just simply not to do it. Managing it administratively and effectively is a strong way to do that. One of the things that we do when we do get policy reviews and recommended language is we always ask that eyeglass of the board attorney, does this lend to the limit of a ministerial duty? So we would check it on that basis as well. But Mr. Butler has some information to provide in response.
Yes, great afternoon. I think just in response to your question, I think it is reasonable to expect that be provided prior to the purchase. I do want to note that that language is already in the current regulation under the acceptable dress for non-uniform days. And so that athletic wear is permitted on those days. And so there is a note about school-approved athletic wear. So wanted to just make sure that we clarified that some of that language does currently exist, but in direct response to your question, I think it's reasonable to expect that schools would communicate what the approved athletic school spirit wear or the general school spirit wear might be prior to the purchase of those purchase of the attire.
Thank you. I agree with that we're trying to stay away from ministerial language. As long as that's been talked about, I feel pretty good about it. So thank you, Mr. Butler, for looking into it.
Ms. Grabowski.
So similarly, one of the questions I had submitted previously, but maybe wasn't clear. So I know when we made the last change that we allowed for hooded sweatshirts that are spirit wear to be worn. And I guess my question is, I'd like to better understand why we would not allow for hooded sweatshirts that are solid color, school color. You know, we allow for solid color sweater, vest, or sweatshirts to be worn, but we don't allow for hooded sweatshirts to be worn unless they're spirit wear. Like, why are we differentiating whether or not it has a school logo on it?
I will defer to Mr. Butler on this because it's gotten so detailed. I don't have a good answer for you right now. If it is a solid colored shirt, I would certainly support it being worn.
Thank you. Yeah, so can we just allow solid colored? Well, anyways, I'll pause and ask Mr. Butler's response.
No, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I think I want to, and I certainly want to remind the board of the exercise a couple years ago when we began to draft the recommended revisions. Certainly, this is part of an ongoing review, and we'll take that feedback, certainly as we did here, to make sure that we provide greater clarification as the current regulation does indicate sweatshirts as solid color. The language does not specifically state hooded sweatshirts as solid colors. So we note that, and so we'll take a note of that, and we'll come back to the board for any additional updates. But thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Does this include zipped hoodies? Or some are zipped and some aren't? So, buttons or Velcro, whatever.
Just open the door.
Again, we take note of that as well. I think some of this is about what is a hooded sweatshirt, what is considered a jacket, and so again, this is an opportunity for us to provide some greater clarity in the regulation, but we will take that feedback and come back to the board with any updates for your consideration.
Ms. Campbell.
Maybe in a way to keep this less ministerial and more just a thought would be to maybe open it up to saying either no hoods or jackets at all, because we are all asking these specific questions, not because we have thought of them, but because parents, I think, have asked us, and there has been some dissension maybe among admin at schools. And so maybe the way that we take the ministerial lens off would be to just say it's up to admin at this site. And again, just a thought, but I agree we shouldn't be too microscopic when it comes to dealing with the leaders at sites. But I know that we have all gotten these questions very specifically. So thank you for looking into it.
And I'll just chime in, like, I know that, like, the hooded sweatshirts was, like, a really big deal for good reasons, like, back in the day, and I think we had not allowed them out of concerns or whatnot, but the reality is, some kids need the hood to stay warm when they walk to school. Like, and I don't want to prohibit a kid from staying warm when they walk to school. Then they lose the hat, I don't know. Anyways, all right, I'll be quiet.
Anyone else? I want to make sure that we're making this easy for our principals and teachers. I don't want our teachers having to go through a litany of exceptions. We've got, and I think this is part of the education process, there are rules. And because a rule is uncomfortable does not make the rule not a great rule. I think we're beginning, when we start listing these exceptions, you're about to make things very difficult for our principals and our teachers. And I don't want to do that. So, yes, Ms. Hall.
As a former principal, I suggest that we always err on the side of common sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use common sense. Let's be as, let's keep our kids in the least restrictive environment that we can and still do our duty of educating them well and not get too deep in the weeds with what they wear if what they wear does not interfere with their getting a fine education every day. Common sense always makes a lot of sense.
I guess the question is, if we're going to go that route, do we need a dress code? Okay, well, you can't have a dress code and then say, well, but let's be like super flexible, because then it's not a dress code, it's a dress suggestion.
Okay, can I
Yeah.
finish my thought? When I was in high school, we couldn't wear pants. Girls couldn't wear pants to school. Think about that now, how oppressive and restrictive. And I don't care how cold it was in New York, you were wearing a skirt. So let's, again, use common sense, okay? Times change, and we have to be able to change while we don't give up the principle of getting a fine education. If you ask me right now, what does Ms. Snowden have? I know Ms. Snowden has a dress on and a sweater, but really, that's not interfering with me being a good board member here, what you have. You know what I'm saying? So let's not spend our time and bog the superintendent and principals down with more than we must. And I'd like to hear what the rest of you say, you know?
Dr. Brinkman?
I'm pro-hood. I think, isn't that literally we're okay with the dress code? We're just like, are you hood or no hood? Is that? I thought that was the question we were arguing. School color. I am pro school color and a hood. If you want to call it a hoodie, if it identifies as a hoodie, then yes.
You just can't wear it. You can't wear a hood up.
You just can't have a hood up. We're all convertibles once we get in the building.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Is it, with the hoods, is it a safety concern or is it more concern for a certain aesthetic? Good question. And that would be my
Not being able to see who they are.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think that would inform the decision based on whether it was a safety call or whether it was just an aesthetic one.
Yes.
As another teacher, it is confusing.
Well, your microphone.
It is confusing trying to determine, does it zip, does it not zip, what's printed on it. I think as teachers, as long as the hood is off, we're fine. So I think in our schools, we all agree with that mostly. It's hard when Mr. Moss enforces one thing in the hallway and then Ms. Watts enforces something else, but, you know, it's just too many, the exceptions, like you said. I think as long as the hood is off, we're happy. And they've all gone through the metal detector on the way in, so we're kind of enforcing things just to enforce them sometimes.
Thank you. So do we need to look,
It's a regulation, right?
are we going to have to rewrite this regulation?
It's regulation. We don't vote on it.
Yeah, so this is a
It's
regulation
regulation,
for,
we don't vote
yeah, this is for the board's review by the board's own policy, stipulated that administrative regulations are to be brought for the board's awareness. Of course, as we have done by practice and protocol through this procedure, we provide an opportunity to take feedback and then make adjustments. So it will be subject to the superintendent's will and how we go forward, meeting with staff, taking all the feedback into account on how we would revise that language prior to posting it or bringing it back to the board for another look.
Ms. Snowden?
So it sounds like it would be fine for the language to remain as it is, with students being allowed to wear hoodies. They just can't wear them inside the building. Is that correct? On their head?
On their heads.
On their head. They can't put the hood on their head inside the building. So it doesn't matter if their jacket or sweatshirt has a hood, you're not to put the hood on your head inside the building. Am I understanding that? Okay.
Mr. Smith?
I was going to ask, will we enforce the same dress code or suggestion during the times of basketball games and things of that nature? As far as students wearing their hoods and things of that nature inside the building? This is a gym, correct? So if they're in the gym during the school day, it's okay to have their hoods on?
No, the dress code doesn't apply for school.
Okay.
I would think that it's
Exactly, exactly. Or
About extracurricular
rallies,
after
anything.
the school day activities, basketball
Oh,
games.
that's fine.
Okay.
Football
But during
games.
academic time, during class time, and time when teachers are present and trying to teach a lesson, I don't want to have to figure out, you know, if I've let them sit everywhere, you don't want to have to figure out, is that Donald over there with his head down and his hood on? Donald, take that hood off and pay attention. So it's wearing the hoodie during the time of academics, not after the school day or leaving the
I
school.
would align it to the cell phone, bell to bell, no hood.
Bell to bell, no hood. Oh,
like
that's-
that.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
I like it.
That's why we pay her the
All
big
right, moving
bucks.
All right.
Welcome to the board.
All right.
Ay, ay, ay.
All right, we're bell to bell, no hood.
Moving on. Moving on.
All right. Continuing, Mr. Adiger?
Thank you, sir. Great feedback from the board. We appreciate that. And
Do you now?
we've captured all the information, and we will continue to assess that with the superintendent and the leaders who own that policy area. Moving on, item 7.08. This is a policy under the 4-year review process, and there are no policy changes recommended here. This is KBC News Media Relations under the 4-year process. No recommended changes, however, subject to the board's feedback. If there is agreement with that, we'll move it forward as considered complete and reviewed.
Thank you.
And finally, on your agenda today for board matters, this is policy KB, which is Public Information Program, a 4-year review. You'll note in previous language, one-sentence policy. Those are nice, but sometimes they just need a little bit more content and guidance. So we did provide that as a recommendation here, and you'll note that one of the areas we really wanted to focus on was the value of our district website and the value of school websites as a key communication platform and a way to share public information with parents and be fully transparent. So having that in policy is something that by principle the board believes in, provides us some greater strength and accountability in how we manage that toolkit in our engagement with our families. Those are the primary revisions that you see in this policy area. This will come back for a second read adoption September 2nd.
Thank you.
And that concludes the Board of Education Matters segment of today's agenda. Turning the agenda back to the board president for consent agenda and other business of the board.
Okay, I will accept a motion to approve our consent agenda. It's been moved and seconded. Who seconded? Okay, all right. Any discussion? No, there's no discussion. All in favor? Yeah. Who motioned? Who motioned it? Oh, David did. David, you seconded. Okay, wonderful. All right, all in favor of the consent agenda? Yes.
She just wanted to make sure that things had been moved off the agenda.
Yeah, okay, all right. And we have one abstention. Okay?
One person out of the room.
One person on the room. Yeah, it's not abstention. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Yay. Yes. The premiere of our CFO.
Thank you for that. I was trying to follow the lead and sit there and read, but I'm up here today. So good afternoon, everyone. All right. So for Pillar 1, academic excellence for future-ready student success, we have item 9.01, Ignite Reading Partnership Agreement. I'm going to put on my extra set of eyes. All right, here we go. The Office of School Leadership and Office of Office of Instructional Excellence. Ignite Reading delivers virtual one-on-one foundational reading skills tutoring for students for 15 minutes per day, 5 days per week. Ignite Reading is designed to build automatic word recognition and fluency based on the science of reading. In the 25-26 school year, the district piloted Ignite Reading at 4 elementary schools. After seeing great progress, the program was expanded. Evidence of program effectiveness for school year 25-26 is reflected in students' mid-year and end-of-year outcomes. These results support continued investment in Ignite tutoring as an evidence-based strategy for accelerating literacy growth and improving reading achievement. Thus be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approve Ignite Reading for a total cost of $4,433,600.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Ms. Growski.
I know we all are very supportive of this, and I loved seeing the breakdown of the numbers of the stakeholders impacted, and that the highest impact, as you said, goes to the first graders, that we are getting really early on in intervention for the students who need it most. So look forward to seeing great results.
Anyone else? Okay. There being no more discussion, all in favor? Wonderful. Yes.
Great. Excuse me. Item 9.02, AIM Institute for Learning and Research Pathways to Proficient Reading. The Office of Instructional Excellence requests board approval to enter into a contractual agreement with AIM Institute for Learning and Research for Pathways for Proficient Reading and Secondary License course content and job-embedded teacher coaching services that support the effective implementation of literacy practices among 120 ELA teachers in grades 6 through 8 during the 26-27 school year. The agreement includes 120 course licenses for Pathways to Proficient Reading. It also includes the delivery by 3 facilitators in person, so there's travel included. The total license cost is $108,266.40. This is a 2-year district job-embedded coaching partnership with AIM Institute. Professional services fees for coaching totals an additional $53,628. Thus be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approves purchasing of AIM Institute for Learning and Research Pathways to Proficient Reading, secondary license course content, and job-embedded teacher coaching services for a total cost of $161,189.40.
Moved? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, everyone who answered my questions about this beforehand. Very, very great answers. One thing I still see a discrepancy about, and not to henpeck this thing, but when I do the math, even accounting for the coaching, I'm still getting a $705 discrepancy. I just want to make sure that that's reconciled before we go forward with it and we approve it. Like 108,266 plus 53,628 gives me that $705 discrepancy. So I don't know if it needs to be exact in that way, but the math ain't mathin'. Yeah. So any idea?
We'll take a look at that. We did arrange the contract to include the cost of the facilitators and the licensing fees. So we can go back and look at that and itemize that to make sure that those numbers are reconciled.
Perfect. Otherwise, this is great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Grabowski.
I have just requested this be pulled from consent because Ms. Campbell had some really great questions to bring forward. And also, we've talked, literacy is our North Star, and this talks about one of those points we've talked about a lot. What about the middle school students? And this is a direct program, so I just wanted to highlight that for anyone who might be watching the meeting today, that this is a dedicated focus on our middle school students, so we're not forgetting about them.
Anyone else? There being no more questions, all in favor? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The financials that are included in your packet this month are for year end June 30th, 2026. Just want to remind everyone, these numbers are preliminary. We will be going through our year-end audit of these financials once the numbers are presented to the state on September 30th. Then our external auditors will then complete their review of our financials. The numbers before you for our general revenue, both property taxes and general revenues as budgeted, we ended the year so far at 101% of the budget. Our general fund expenditures, the teacher spendings was 116% as compared to our budget, expecting to end at 100%. We were like 16% over that. Our other support salaries, we were at 100% as was expected. Total general fund expenditures at this point are 98% of what was budgeted. That's a quick snapshot of our general fund expenditures and revenues for last year. And if you have any questions on any of the other funds, we'll take it at this time.
Any questions? Dr. Brinkman.
Yeah, because Ms. Campbell's got me, making me ask the question I normally ask during every budget season. On this page, and just tell me if I'm looking at the right numbers or not, when we go down to total general, and I look to year-to-date actual, that is $63 million more than what we thought we were going to do in the good. Because we, year-to-date, got more QBE, got more local, correct or no? Like that total general, year-to-date actual of 63 million.
That $63 million that you're seeing there primarily is your $60 million that you voted to approve back in 2024, 2025. We moved for the 208 project. We moved it from the general fund over to
And it just hangs out. Okay,
That's
so
it, yeah,
it's-
that's it. We
okay.
actually, you approved it. We actually moved it last December.
And that just hangs out there until we end up spending it.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 10.02, budget transfer, specialized instructions, specialized instruction. Oops, sorry, wrong mouse. The Office of Instructional Excellence and Specialized Instruction does now request approval to transfer salary and benefit funds from SLP account lines, Function 2100, Activity 1500 under SPED program to Professional Services, account line to fund contracted services for vacant positions. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget transfer above noted above in the amount of $2,920,310.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor? Thank you.
Item 10.03, budget transfer, Fund 100 maintenance. The Department of Capital Programs and Maintenance requests the following budget transfer to reallocate funds from the main account to the appropriate trade accounts to improve fiscal tracking, reporting accuracy, and expense management. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board does now approve the requested budget transfer from Capital Programs and Maintenance, Professional Services, and building account lines to Capital Programs and Maintenance, various professional services account lines.
The resolution, is there a motion? There's a first from Ms. Campbell, second from Ms. Grabowski. Any discussion? All in favor? It's 8-0, one person absent. Moving on.
Item 10.04, RFP C26-112, CMR Services for Windsor Forest Elementary School Replacement Project. The Purchasing Department received requests for proposals from 12 offerers in response to RFP C26-12 EastPLOST CMR Services for Windsor Forest Elementary School Replacement Project. The intent of the solicitation was to establish a contract for Construction Manager at Risk Services for Windsor Forest Elementary School replacement as outlined in the RFP and all the related documents. The requests for proposals were evaluated on the following criteria: company information, 5%, experience on similar projects, 30%, staffing plan, 40%, sealed fee proposal, 25%. Administrative reviews were conducted for all 12 offerers. 11 were deemed responsive and responsible, and 1 offerer was deemed non-responsive. After the committee's evaluation of the RFP responses, follow-up interviews were conducted, and the 5 highest scoring offerers proceeded. The interviews were evaluated on the following criteria: presentation, 45 points. That included questions regarding the staffing plan, hiring of local subcontractors, and schedule. In addition to the presentation, questions asked accounted for an additional 55 points. Based on the interview score and the best and final offer, it is recommended that RFP C26-12, CMR Services for Windsor Forest Elementary School Replacement Project, be awarded to Balfour Beatty Construction with a proposed CMR general conditions and overhead costs of $3,469,145, a construction management fee percentage of 2.5%, and a $45,000 lump sum pre-construction fee to be reimbursed for services prior to the GMP. The project's stated cost limitation is $36 million in accordance with the RFP. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that a board approve the RFP C26-12 CMR Services for Windsor Forest Elementary School Replacement Project to Balfour Beatty Construction with fees as described above and an initial stated cost limitation of $36 million.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Dr. Brinkman?
Yes, thank you. Great that this is getting rolling. I am just concerned with that price point. It seems really reasonable. The same construction company just did a renovation for us that I think came in at 33. We just had another renovation that was 28. So it just is shocking to me that it's only a couple $1 million more to rebuild an entire school than to renovate one. I know there's different costs and things like that, but I just am worrisome that that number is low and that we'll be hit with tons of change orders to balloon it to a number well into the 40s, and that's what I worry about.
So we do acknowledge your concerns, Dr. Brinkman, and we appreciate that. It is often now cheaper to build a new school than to renovate a school. Why we have to sometimes choose to renovate over rebuild is based on many different factors like swing spaces and other pieces. But we acknowledge your concern and are committed to stay on our contractors about change orders.
Any other discussion? All right, there being no more discussion, all in favor? Thank you. All opposed? Thank you.
The last and final item, 10.05. RFP C26-06, 208 Bull Street renovation design professional. The purchasing department received proposals from 9 vendors in response to bid C26-06 Bull Street renovation design professional. The intent of this solicitation is to establish a design professional contract for the renovation of the administrative office building at 208 Bull Street, Savannah, Georgia. After evaluations were completed, the top 4 scoring vendors were selected to advance to the second round for presentation and interviews. The vendors were scored on the following: design component, 70 points, questions, 20 points, the fee component, 10 points. The top scoring vendor was LS3P Associates Limited. At this time, staff is recommending approval to 3P Associates to be awarded design professional services for the renovation of the administrative office building at 208 Bull Street, Savannah, Georgia. The proposed fees is in 2 phases. The first phase is a lump sum amount of $135,000 for the programming and master planning services. After approval of the project, the fee for the design and construction administration phase of the project will be 5.15% of the stated cost limitation, or SCL. A $22,000 reimbursable allowance will also be added to the contract. Thus, be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent and the board approve, that the board approve the contract award under RFP C26-06, Bull Street Renovation Design Professional to LS3P Associates for the fees as described, and that the board authorize the beginning of the programming and master plan phase of the project for a lump sum amount of $135,000 and $22,000 for the related reimbursable allowance.
It's been moved. Moved and seconded. I'm sorry, moved and seconded. Discussion, and I think there's some. Who would like to start? Dr. Howard Hall.
I initially asked a question, and it was answered, and my question was, is the 85 million cost limitation renovation budget sufficient? And based on the answer that I received, I have a follow-up question, which is, why are we being asked to approve a contract for DP without knowing the full cost? And why not spend the money for someone to tell us whether or not we can afford to do the project before hiring a DP?
Yes, ma'am. So that's a great question. So the next stage is programming, in which we would gather everybody together to find out exactly what the CTAE programming would require, how many employees would be in this space, what departments would be in this space, as we also begin to uncover what is behind the walls. So the next phase is when we would determine what we want in the building, and that will guide us as far as what it will cost, as we also look at the hidden aspects of a very old historical building. But great question.
Have we considered the cost when it's, as far as the location of the building, this entire block? Have we made arrangements with the city of Savannah regarding parking area and places that we're going to have to actually block off?
So all that will be as part of the architect. That's the good pieces are the building is empty. We will have to work with the construction company to make sure that we have adequate laydown space, which could happen in the back. But if they need additional space, we would partner with the city. As we get further into the project, we will ensure that the city and the other community members around are well aware of what is going on in the timeline.
And also, did we consult with anyone from the Savannah Historical Board regarding the renovation of that building?
Not fully. So they were invited to participate in the beginning stages, and then as we move forward into the next phase, historical individuals will have an opportunity to give feedback, and we'll make sure we're hand in hand with them to the best of our abilities.
Ms. Campbell?
Okay, so I don't like that we have to spend $157,000 for programming to tell us what the final cost is going to be, but I respect the process, and I know that there are stages to this, and there are things that we have to determine, like what's behind the walls. While many of us are very cynical that $85 million is going to be sufficient, I guess I just want to make it clear up front from me and my vote going forward that I don't want programming to determine how much money we need. I want to determine what responsible project we can deliver within an $85 million budget that we've assigned. $25 million from East Blast was on the referendum. That's a done deal. $60 million was contingency funds that have now become completely for 208 Bull Street. I can also accept that because that's how the board voted, but I'm going to be very uncomfortable with any extra tax dollars going toward this project. And I just wanted to make sure that that was something that I said very evidently before we move forward.
Dr. Brinkman?
I will follow up as the second cynic. Thank you, Ms. Campbell, for stating it so well. They should be given that amount and told that they must design something within that amount, and whoever then bids for this RFP must deliver for that amount, not a penny more. Because that's what we told voters in East Bluffs, and we moved a ton of money out of our fund to fund this, and we couldn't move that money to reduce taxes for the taxpayers this year. So again, it's got to stay at that price, both on the design and on the build. And then furthermore, we have to make sure that this design professional is held accountable, as we have had some issues in the past.
Ms. Grabowski?
I am very excited to see this project moving forward. I thank the team for their due diligence. I know this has been a long process, and vetting the proposals and interviewing the candidates, and I know that this is not a recommendation that comes lightly. And I hear my colleagues about concerns of cost and why are we spending all this money for programming. The reality is we could have had a full program in the RFP that said, this is what we want to do. That would have only shortchanged us as a district and our students that will benefit from this amazing facility that no one else in the world can provide in the heart of downtown Savannah, and the opportunity to use our city and our community as a living laboratory. And so I think it's important. Yes, it is a major investment. It's an investment in a building for the benefit of our students. And I think it's really easy to lose sight of that second part, but that's the most important part. We have a city that people come to from all over the world. We have students in our district who have never been downtown, who don't understand the legacy of this city, who don't understand the importance of a city that was founded in 1733. And this is an opportunity for those students to learn their own sense of place, to learn their own community in a way that is going to be incredible, I know. This is a first step in a long process. There will be surprises. There's surprises in every single project. There's surprises in new construction. So I don't want us to forget that part either. Will there probably be more surprises here? Yeah, probably so. But I would argue there's also more opportunities here. There are opportunities for us to do things that we would not be able to do in other buildings or in other locations. So I just encourage us to think about the possibilities that exist with this project and the opportunities that will be made available for students across the entire district. This is not just for one school, this is for all of our students and for our community. I think there's tremendous opportunities for us to reimagine this building as a community space, not only as an educational space for our students, but an educational space for our community and a gathering place for our community. And we need architects, we need design professionals to help us realize that vision. That's the reason they're professionals, that's the reason that they do this. And so I hope that this will be a partnership, working with this team, working with the community to develop a program that we have never seen before. And I can't wait to see what that is. So I am going to take the other side of the coin and not be a cynic, but be an eternal optimist about the possibilities that exist at 208 Bull Street. Thank you.
Ms. Campbell? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Hall, I'm so sorry.
Of all the votes I've taken since 2012, when I first came on the board, this one to preserve 208 Bull Street has been one of the most wonderful ones I've made, and one of the most wonderful things I'll remember when I leave the board. I'm disappointed that with 3 Savannah design firms in the mix, that we were not able to decide on one of them. They're all,
They're also Savannah-based.
well, no, they're Charlotte-based.
No, they're not. They're Savannah-based.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. The other three have been here when we wanted to begin this whole East Blast adventure. They helped get East Blast as a regular idea in the voters' minds in this county. And I would have loved to see them as part of this historical undertaking to be a part of the design, especially given that we've had some concerns with the company that has been chosen. But all in all, I'm still so thrilled that we're going to have that wonderful, as you said, laboratory downtown for our children.
Mr. Katchmar.
I guess I'm a little confused because there's kind of three distinct issues. One is the board voted to undertake the renovation of 208. That's done. We're not revisiting that, number one. Number two, we have an opportunity to vote on the contractor and the GMP later. So that's not even an issue right now. And we have to have a designer on board, period, no matter what, for every project. I kind of look at this as like a CMR project where we bring in the contractor early to help with design, to help with picking materials, because they have the expertise on, well, steel is really cheap now, so let's go with steel instead of concrete, or use travertine instead of ceramic tile, or things like that. I think it's wise of us to hire a designer because this is such a unique project, and we have a goal of an $85 million budget, but if we get in there and there's asbestos everywhere and somebody says the entire interior has to come down, we're changing the scope of our planning. And having a designer who was vetted ostensibly under this process to have the historic building expertise there to say it's cheaper to redo plaster than to replace it with something period specific. I'm making something up. But having somebody there to guide us as we're doing programming, I think, is useful. And, you know, they can come back, the district staff and designer could come back and say, well, to do this the way we think it should be, we actually need a budget of 130 million, and the board could say, nope, 85 million, make it work. So we always have that option down the road, but we need a designer at some point. Having somebody on board now to help with programming and master planning, I think is a wise move, and I don't see, I mean, I'm going to support the resolution at this point. I share the same concerns about the estimated project budget, and I too will be resistant to a requested increase for the project, but I don't think we can know the scope right now because we haven't gotten in there and torn the building apart.
So, I have a lot of problems with this one. I had the staff provide us with the matrix and also provide us with the questions. First of all, you know, I really wish we had waited until after we hired our program manager to do this, because I think a program manager could have really helped us with the vetting process. I have said from day one that the most important thing I'm going to look for in someone that designs this project was someone who had extensive
historic preservation experience. I noticed that cost was one of the things that they were judged on. A project like this, we only have one time to do 208 Bull Street. This is probably the most public project this school board will ever work on. We have one time to get it right. Yeah, I can say, well, we can give them an $85 million budget, and they better stick with it. Okay, I don't know a lot about construction, but I don't have a lot of money to bet, but I can bet you right now, it's going to be a lot more than $85 million. And I looked at the questions, and I was really struck that, and maybe that happened in the first round, but I was really struck that there was not a question on historic preservation in that list of questions. The most important thing about this project is historic preservation. And historic preservation is expensive as heck. I'm going to also say, what Dr. Brinkman said, when we voted to not give the taxpayers a break on the millage rate, what that said to me is we were going to be really conservative about our budgeting. We don't have $150 million to spend on this project. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know it's over $100 million. And this is really, do I like the idea of the architecture and design school? Absolutely, I think that's wonderful. But we're not even clear about what percentage of this project is going to be the school and what percentage of this project is going to be administration. And I can't say, if this were just going to be a school building, I'd probably be okay. But this is also going to be an administration building. And, we did a good thing of only putting $25 million of it in East Bluffs, because you can't put administration buildings in East Bluffs. And I do thank the staff for the work on this. They worked very hard on this, but I can't vote for this. All right, and yes.
I guess I'm confused. We are the ones as a board who said we wanted it to be primarily educational space with some administration. What we're voting on right now is the programming. And the programming will determine that's what programming is. It determines the educational space. It determines the administrative space. It determines what's what. And at the end of the day, we're the owners. We get to say what's what. If we as the owners want it to be 100% educational space, it's 100% educational space. This is the design team working under our direction. I guess I'm going to go back to Mr. Katchmar's point of we're talking about voting on a design professional and all of this other, our vote is on the design professional to help provide us this information, but at the end of the day, we're the ones who make the decision. So
So I will say this. I am, so, and I don't want to cast dispersions on any design professional because, I know a lot of them. They're all wonderful people and they're all extremely talented. I don't think this one is the best one for this project. I'll just say that right now. So, Ms. Campbell.
So I understand what Ms. Grabowski is saying. I understand that we are in charge of whatever programming goes forward. We're the boss, so to speak, of what we want to make this building to be. And I know there's strong opinions on both sides. Everyone's either we want it to be built or we don't, we agreed or we didn't. I guess the point that I would make about this, though, is that the way that it was sold was that only $25 million from East Blast was going to be allocated to this project because that was the only square footage that we could legally cover and it be approved with East Blast dollars. So if we need at least 60 million, and I say at least precisely, we're treating $85 million right now in this as a variable. And again, I'm being realistic here. I understand things change. The chances are small, but it could even come a little under budget, right? That's a pipe dream, I think. But nevertheless, it could definitely go up from there. And 85 to me is not a variable when we have a literacy problem. So I don't want to make it a referendum on something that it isn't. But I guess my issue is that I feel that when we know that most of this space has been imagined and envisioned as administrative placement, that's all well and good until we need to take more money from taxpayers for it, when we could be expanding our literacy initiatives, et cetera, and we have the space and underutilized buildings to handle our administrative overflow right now at the multiple properties that we have. So I want us to be very clear-minded going forward. All of us would love another special program, but special programs, to me, are a luxury item when kids can't read. So I'm all for special programs. I'm not saying no to 85. 85 was what was agreed upon. I understand there's going to be some things up and down, just to be clear. But I don't want 85 million being a variable number. This is a fixed amount that we have decided, and I would love for everything going forward to remain within that window. That is the stretch, the limit. And that's my piece.
Ms. Hall?
Okay, I just want to say that what I'm hoping is that when 208 Bull is completed, that it's a statement to the city and the state and the country of what Savannah thinks about public education. We have a city hall that has lots of problems structurally in there, but there has never been any talk about selling the city hall. The county has made their presence downtown. Public education is the economic miracle for the future for our kids. And to have a building that says we think public education is really important, and look what we've done in the heart of our city. So when tourists and people from the outside come, they see, oh, wow, look at their education headquarters down in the middle of Savannah. So we don't need to relitigate that. All those arguments came before our vote for it. But Ms. Campbell, I agree with you that we have to keep costs where they need to be. But again, of all the projects we've done through East Blast and all, I'm still very, very proud that we're going to have this one built downtown. And I think everybody here wants to stay within the cost as much as we can. But that's not going to take away from the glory I feel that I voted to have it.
Ms. Grabowski. I'm sorry, Dr. Howard Hall.
Yes, I am definitely pro 208 Bull Street. I'm the biggest cheerleader I am, but I just have reservations about the $85 million just not being enough. And how will the design professional invoice their cost, and we're not clear on what it's going to cost? There's a lot of thought that just, in my opinion, hadn't been considered. You know, we need someone, a staff of engineers and architects that can give us some solid advice and good assessment. And right now, we don't have that. We have not hired anyone yet for that. So it's almost like you're voting with blindfolders on, because we know that it's going to exceed. It's probably be double that amount, 85 million. So I have reservations about it. I want 208, everything that we've voted on. I am pro 208 Bull Street, but I am very concerned and have reservations regarding this $85 million limit.
Mr. Kaczmarek. Ms. Grabowski, then Mr. Kaczmarek.
I know you don't want to hear from me on this, but good grief. So I just want to clarify. Yes, we would all love to keep it at 85. Like, I don't think anybody's saying that. We want it to go higher than that. But I do want to clarify what Ms. Campbell's point, because I think it's an excellent one that we need to make sure is clear. If you look only at the budget and understanding administration and education, I can see where it'd be easy to jump to, oh, it's 2/3 administration and 1/3 education because of that split. But that is not if you'll recall in our facilities master plan, the majority of our administration is going to be located over at Savannah High in that new administrative space. In 208 Bull Street, we'll have a small area with the superintendent's office and a small administrative footprint. I believe, and Dr. Watts can correct me, I believe we were ultra conservative in the amount we put in East Bluff to make triple sure that the educational component stayed within that East Bluff. So I don't want it to be misunderstood that we're thinking that 2/3 of the building programming is going to be for administration and only 1/3 is going to be for educational space.
I'll clarify that. The dollar amounts were not proportional to the square footage and how it was going to be designated. That's not how we thought about it. So it's not that only 20% of the building is going to be educational and the other 60%. They're not the same ratios.
Do we have an estimate yet for how many admin will, do we know how much of that building will be housed with admin versus students?
We are in conversation about that now. As recent as yesterday, Ms. Davidson and I were in conversation about what that might look like, what other available spaces we have across the district. You all will get an update and the board retreat in September on the long-range facilities plan, because we owe you an explanation around not only that question, but a lot of our other bigger projects. So we will have an update for you in that time frame around September to know who's going where administratively. But there's so many other factors that we're trying to also weigh in. How do we expand early childhood? There's just a lot of different moving pieces of the puzzle. So again, that update will be coming to you in September.
And if I may just clarify, and that's really the whole intent of programming, is to figure out what do we want to go in there, look at what's it going to cost, very high level, and figure out, but it was a minimal administrative footprint, because we do have other opportunities that we've already maximized, like Port Wentworth, that are intended to continue.
We have to consider what we're going to do with this space.
Yeah.
We have to consider where is a boardroom going to be. Like, there are lots of different pieces. We have a technology division that wants to come more back into a centralized location and not be spread at home and in various buildings. So we're trying to put a very complicated puzzle together to figure out where do we have available space, where do we put people, what do we want to sell. all of those things. And today, we can't really answer that question, but we hope to have an update for you in September.
I would love that. And then just a question regarding what Ms. Davidson just said. I know you mentioned Port Wentworth. Are we not considering Savannah High anymore for administrative space? We are? Okay.
Savannah High is as well, but we
Okay.
have
I need to say something.
admin working at Port Wentworth.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Catchmar, then Ms. Hall.
Maybe I'm tired. I want to know what we're talking about today. Because it sounds like we want to revisit this decision, number one. Number two, lots of people are saying it can't happen for 85. Okay, I'm skeptical of that as well. But this is, hey, we have this complicated project. We need to start bringing on experts to help us analyze what we can and can't do within our current budget. This is step one, right? So this is all this vote is. Am I missing something?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, so this is step one in that process. And it's $135,000 plus $22,000 in reimbursements for the programming and master planning. Then, if they stay on for the design phase, it's 5% or whatever that number is of whatever the final budget is. So we can say it's 85, which is what we approved before. If there's a proposal to have a different budget, 60, 200 million, the board's going to vote on it, right? So am I missing something here?
Some of us just decided to reiterate our feelings using this vote, like we always do.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
was
understand.
just making
I'm
it
just
was-
trying to bring us back to,
Making the water was muddy. I was just clearing it up for you. Roger said we had time.
I know, well, maybe it's just a different way of refocusing on, this is a vote on the first step of bringing an
You could
expert
say,
in.
call the question.
I don't know, I'm just, anyway. That's it.
And my comment, Dr. Watts, is that District 3 is looking so forward to some of the administrative officers coming to Savannah High and Savannah Early College, because we have space there for administration. And I know that with administration coming, there's going to be some upward grading of that facility. So feel free and welcome to come to District 3
There you go.
when you're
Call the
ready.
question.
We got it on the floor.
Okay. All right. All in favor? All opposed? All right, it passes. Okay, so because we started the new practice of having our speakers speak at the beginning of our meetings, that was not convenient for our students. So I am going to allow some students that signed up to speak. They just got out of school, so, oh gosh, give me their names. The Italiano girls. I know there are two of you, but you only get 3 minutes. All right.
Hello, I'm Clara Italiano. And I'm Gloria Italiano. We are sophomores at Savannah Arts Academy. We are here to continue our request for a girls' basketball team at our school. As the board considers our request, we would like to contribute additional information. As we shared last time, having a basketball team at Savannah Arts would be good so that its high-achieving, multi-sport, multi-activity students can play without having to give up another team or compromise their grades. We continue to talk with many of the girls who we initially listed who would like to try out for a girls' basketball team. They are very excited for the chance to play basketball at Savannah Arts. Our list continues to grow, and we also have 10 boys so far who have said that they would be interested in a boys Savannah Arts basketball team.
We would like to point out that of the 22 students on the lists, 13 of us also play another sport at Savannah Arts. If we were to play basketball at a different school, because of GHSA rules, we would not be allowed to play any sports at our own school. We would have to give up playing for our Savannah Arts teams in soccer, swim, volleyball, flag football, tennis, and cross country. Having basketball at Savannah Arts would allow us to play multiple sports without giving up other teams.
We would also like to add a suggestion to our previous discussion about gym options. Because the Savannah Arts Gym is not regulation size, we offered the Jenkins Athletic Club and the Eastside Gym at the PARC as options. In addition, we wondered about the Schumann Elementary School. We understand that it closed in 2025 and the building remains empty with a nice regulation-sized gym. We were wondering if this could be an option for a home gym.
Speaking of having a home gym for games, we realize that most basketball teams already have their calendar scheduled with games. However, we have seen from experience a new local team form as late as October and still put games on their calendar. And from what we find, the GHSA deadline for a roster is not until October 19th. We hope and believe there is still time to form a team this year. And even if the first season of SAA basketball has fewer games than normal, for most of us who do not have a good alternative, having a few basketball games is better than having no basketball games available to us. Thank you for considering our request. Go Panthers!
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, not everyone at once. I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, and thank you all for coming out today. Look at us.